Let us help you reach your peak in retirement. It's time for Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Hey everybody, welcome into the podcast. We're going to have some fun this week on Retirement Elevated. Of course, I think Sean and I always have a little fun when we're talking about these topics to keep things light, but also hopefully share with you a useful nugget or two of information about the retirement journey. And we're going to put Sean on the spot with a little Jeopardy. Since it's a podcast, I guess we could play the music, Sean, although everybody's probably already humming it in their head, right? As soon as you say Jeopardy, people just start going, la, 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 la. It just happens, right? How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So you feeling up to play a little game of Jeopardy today?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not. I don't even remember that guy's name. That
Alex Trebek.
No, I know him, but the guy.
Oh yeah, they haven't. I don't think they've even settled on a new person. I think they've changed like 3 or 4 already.
Well, and they've got all those. I can't remember that Ken Burns or whatever guy that was.
Yeah,
just
he got
crazy
balanced, I think.
smart.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Yeah. So all sorts of interesting stuff. But anyway, we're going to keep this simple. I've already picked your category for you. It's financial. Big surprise.
Oh, whew.
Right.
That or baseball, I could answer.
Yeah, I was going to say
answer
right.
those
One of the
questions.
two. I'm not going to give you like world geography or something. So you know how Jeopardy works, right? So I'm going to give you the answer. Everybody knows. And then, Sean, you give me the response in the form of a question, right? So what is blah, right?
Okay.
The only difference from this version of Jeopardy is that just give us a little bit of backstory or just a little bit of explanation as to why, you went with the answer that you went with, all right?
Okay.
So we'll jump right in. I'm going to give out imaginary points and rewards that you can spend wherever you'd like that imaginary points and rewards are accepted, okay? So for 100 imaginary points, here's your first category, Sean Lee on Financial Jeopardy. This thing is known by many for its high fees and broken promises. This financial product gives a bad name to some of its cousins. What is it?
Jeez. High fees and broken promises.
Mm-hmm. It's got cousins.
It's got cousins.
What might it be, Sean Lee, for 100 points?
If it has market risk attached to it, I'd say, what is a variable annuity?
That is correct, sir. That is correct.
Right.
You win. And so why would that be the one that you go with? Is it?
Well, there's lots of different types of annuities out there. There's fixed, there's fixed index, there's immediate, but variable annuities tend to be the most expensive of the
fees.
group.
Okay. Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, they're presented improperly. Not all cases, but there's been this is why you see annuities get a bad rap, is that in a lot of cases, the individuals that are selling them don't necessarily understand how they work, or they're afraid to talk about exactly how they work. And so there's a lot of myths and misconceptions around.
Right. And it does kind of
product.
give the bad name to the cousins, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sure does.
All right. Well, you win imaginary points. So
Great.
Use those on the Toys R Us website. There you go.
All right.
I don't even think it's in existence anymore.
Blockbuster.
There you go. Yeah, on Blockbuster. There you go. We'll give out Blockbuster membership.
Okay.
All right. Next question here. This one's for 200, Sean Lee. This requires a financial advisor to put his or her client's best interest before their own. Unfortunately, not all financial professionals are governed by it.
This one's easy. What is the fiduciary standard?
That is correct, sir. And that is?
The fiduciary standard, in essence, is a moral, ethical, and legal obligation to do what's in your client's best interest.
Seems weird we have to have that. It seems like that should just be common sense practice, right?
Should just be the standard, in my
Right.
opinion. But unfortunately, it's not.
Yep.
In the broker dealer world, there's the
Suitability, right?
suitability standard, which just means that if I follow that standard and I sell you something, it just has to be suitable for you.
Which seems so vague.
Doesn't have to be the best.
Right.
It has to be suitable.
I think about this practice like with other industries, right? That you guys have in the financial industry, this fiduciary standard, which you are, by the way.
Right.
But I think about this like with your mechanic. Like you take your car to a mechanic and he says, hey, I fixed your brakes and they're suitable. They're okay, right? It's like, wait a minute. I think I want the higher standard of brakes on my car.
They should work okay.
Yeah, they should work okay, right? It just seems like a weird thing that we don't apply to some other industries, And so it's like, okay, let's just do the right thing for our clients, period. But again, you guys are held to that higher standard, so that is the correct answer. Yeah. So very good. You win 200 points.
All right.
All right. Let's go with 300. You know what? I want to go with 300 jelly beans on this one. You get this one right, you get 300 jelly beans.
Which kind of jelly beans, though? Because there's those ones that are like the trick jelly beans that taste like
you know,
throw up
you'll
and
have to
stuff
wait.
like
You'll
that.
just have to wait till they get there, I guess, right?
Fair enough.
All right, for 300 jelly beans, here we go. On Financial Jeopardy, see if you can educate us a little bit on this financial phenomenon is thought by some to be imminent right away and by others to be way off in the distance. But there's no denying that it always returns.
Unlike markets that over the last, we'll call it 10 years, with the exception of this year, markets have done really well. But now we're in it, so I'd say, what is a market correction?
You are correct, sir. 300 regular jelly beans, no gross jelly beans for you.
No gross jelly beans that are a surprise.
That's right. So market corrections, but you know what? Here's the thing, Sean, you mentioned it, right? For 10, 12 years, we haven't had, we had the COVID blip, right? When it kind of went down, went right back up. But we get kind of spoiled. But corrections are normal. They are a part of what happens.
Even in bull markets, market corrections happen.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's a reminder.
A pricing adjustment, right?
It is, and that things are not always rosy. And what happens is that you get really comfortable with markets go up, markets go up, markets go up. You don't have to do a lot of planning with that,
right?
But then it's a good reminder to settle you back in when the market's correct. That
wait a minute. Right.
One, I need to have. If I don't have a plan, I need one. And two, it's a great way for you to see that your plan is actually working.
Yeah.
And so, we're in a tough time right now, but we look at plans based on the probability of success. And if we still maintain, 100% probability of success or 98, the plan's still working.
Right.
And that's more important than, oh man, I just lost, 8 or 10%.
Yeah, nobody likes it, but I think to your point, we got spoiled. We have been spoiled. We've been having the good jelly beans, right?
Right.
And then right now we're got a couple of those sour ones that make your face get funny. But it happens. It is part of the cycle, and there's opportunity in corrections as well. It all depends on your financial plan. It all depends on your structure and your time horizon. There's factors in there, but there are opportunities as well. But that's why having a good plan and working with a professional comes in handy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're doing swimmingly well, man. You're doing fantastic. For 400 baseballs, you can use these.
I need those.
You can use these for batting practice. Sean Lee, mandated by the IRS, these force retirees to drain their retirement accounts whether they want to or not.
And it happens at age 72.
Mm-hmm.
If Secure Act 2.0 passes, it could be 73 for some people.
Or 5.
Or 74, 75.
If they change their numbers, yep.
What are required minimum distributions?
That's right. They are RMDs. And, so there's the thing. Whether you want to or not, if these are in traditional accounts, right, Sean? If these are in 401ks or IRAs, government's waiting on their money.
Oh, yeah. It's never been taxed.
That's right.
And the government wants to be able to tax some of that money as soon as they can. Now, with life expectancy increasing and people living longer, they've got to push those years out. And
it makes the check bigger.
It does.
Potentially.
It makes that divisor, the number that they calculate, a little bit higher. And so as that number goes up, the amount that you have to pull out goes up as well. So the government's going to get their money. There have been some changes proposed. There have been some changes that have passed that need to just be ratified now. And so it's going to look a little bit differently. But if you don't get ahead of your required minimum distributions way, way early, you could be setting yourself up for a ticking tax time bomb down the road.
Yeah, and this is where people hear, they say, well, I don't need the money, but I have to do it. This stinks, right? Well, congratulations. One, because you're in a position where you don't need the money that you've saved because you've got other things going on. I mean, you got to look at it that way. That's first. That's a nice way of looking at it. But there are things you can do. Now, you can't get out of them. You owe the money. But if you do some efficient tax planning prior to these years, Sean, you could lower that by doing like a Roth conversion or something like that. There's things like qualified charitable donations, right? If you don't want the money, you could donate it if you're charitably minded. So there's different things you can do. But yes, if you don't, the government has a big old hefty penalty for you as well.
They do. And right now it's 50%. It's proposed to drop down to 25, but we'll see if that happens.
Okay. Yeah, 50 is pretty stark. If you got a $10,000 RMD and you don't pay it, you get hit with that. You got another $5,000 on top of that. Plus, you got to pay the taxes.
Yeah.
On all of it.
So you get to keep maybe 25%.
Yeah, so it's rough. So, but anyway, you're doing fantastic. You won 400 baseballs.
Oh, good.
All right, so final question here, final Jeopardy. This one to go with your new baseball theme for the kids. This one's for 500 bananas.
All right.
And if you want to learn more about why it's bananas, folks, you'll have to reach out to Sean. You'll have to check into Sean and the team for the banana situation. So here you go. Sean Lee, this common staple of retirement, known also as a defined benefit program, is quickly becoming scarce across the American landscape.
A defined benefit program is also known as a pension.
What is a pension? That is correct.
What is a pension?
500 bananas on the way.
That'll be good. The boys they'll match their jerseys.
There you go. And they'll be able to have plenty of potassium to rehydrate.
Right.
So, look, pensions, unless you're working for the government or, something like that, you probably don't have one.
No, and unfortunately, it's a great staple and a great foundation for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of businesses don't offer them anymore. Some do. We still see, especially here in Utah. Not only does the state government, but there's some private companies that still offer pensions. And so understanding what all the choices are when it comes to your pension. Do you take a single life, a joint life, 50%, joint life 100?
Right.
Do you take the lump sum? Understanding how it all fits together inside of what your unique income strategy needs to be or should be based on how you're comfortable with income and what your goals and desires are, help to determine, well, how do we best use the pension to your advantage? Yeah,
and if you've got one, those are the questions. If you don't, well, like the 401k or an IRA, that's what we're doing, right? We're self-funding our retirement. And so a lot of us would go, okay, well, how do we turn it into money? How do we pull that money out that we've saved? So that's all the point of the strategizing and looking at the different things that you have and how they all play together. So good job, Sean. You did a fantastic job here on the podcast this week. Hopefully folks thought that was fun. Hopefully you had a little fun with that as well, just to kind of change it up and play a little Jeopardy.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you won all kinds of great prizes that you can use on Blockbuster's website and Toys R Us's website. You've got some baseballs and all sorts of stuff coming your way. So, hey, man, thanks for hanging out as always. We appreciate your time here on the podcast. This is Retirement Elevated. If you've got some questions about any of these answers, if you'd like to learn more about some things or need help when it comes to your retirement journey, if you're not already working with Sean and the team, stop by the website, elevatemyretirement.com. That's elevatemyretirement.com and get started today with your own strategy for yourself. Get a second opinion, whatever that might be. Don't forget to subscribe to us so you can catch future episodes, listen to past episodes. We're closing in on our 100th podcast episode, so lots of good content. Again, elevatemyretirement.com or retirementelevatedpodcast.com. Either way. Sean, thanks for hanging out, buddy. Have a great couple of weeks. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, brother.
I appreciate your time as always. We'll catch you a little later here on Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Investment advisory services offered through Elevated Capital Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor.